all this drama that's playing out about the tariffs that have been implemented by President Trump, oh, they're coming. They're coming. And I do not think that it's going to end up the way it started. I think there's going to be bilateral agreements, not multilateral WTO style one world government agreements, one world economy agreements. No, agreements that President Trump will make with individual countries that will be of great benefit to the future of our political economy here in the United States. Now, I believe that a big driver of this tariff regime is to pay down our annual deficit, to make our budget more balanced, to reduce the endless borrowing, which has driven we the people $37 trillion in debt. And to the people that say that this is too much or that President Trump is causing this great dislocation and that people won't have any money to buy things. Hey, let me tell you, at $37 trillion of debt, where the interest payment is greater than the defense budget, there wasn't going to be any money around anyhow. We were going to suffer anyhow. And we were going to suffer on the way to a complete collapse. President Trump is dealing we the people back into the game. So whatever the outcomes are of this tremendous perestroika, the restructuring, we the people have a chance to get a better seat, a better shake in this game. And that is President Trump's goal, is to protect the citizens, the sovereign citizens of the United States of America. One of the things that's going to happen to some extent is there's going to be an onshoring of productive capacity. Now, to do onshoring, to bring back businesses to this country, it really is going to require bipartisan support. It has to be industries that both Democrats and Republicans of the uni party, who are still firmly in control, are going to agree need to be in the United States of America. Now, they'd already exported them, but the political fallout of reversing, for example, the return of the auto manufacturing business to the United States, nobody is going to be able to stand against that. That is broad bipartisan consensus, the onshoring of jobs. Let's listen to the first clip.
They're going to want to negotiate, but these are the same people who have been ripping us off for all these years. Remember, the tariffs are only part of the issue. It's these non-tariff trade barriers where they just won't let you trade. They provide subsidies back, like they charge this VAT tax, right? And they always say, oh, it's not the VAT tax. You know what some of these countries do? They take that 20% tax and they give it back to their producers. So they crush our people. It's got to end, and what's going to happen is you're going to see the greatest renaissance of manufacturing in America. $4 trillion investing in America. That's going to create the most incredible set of jobs. Tradecraft is going to come back to America. People, our high school educated workforce is going to get trained to do robot mechanic, HVAC, but in high tech, fabs for semiconductors. I mean, the coolest jobs, the highest paying jobs, they're all coming to America, and Donald Trump is bringing them in because we're tired of having them built in Taiwan. We're tired of having it built in South Korea. It's time for these things to be built in America, and these jobs are coming home.
And you noticed how Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, who I say tangentially went to the same university that I did, and about the same time, uh, the uh, the bringing back. He's talking about South Korea and Taiwan. Why not China? Why not Thailand? Because what they're talking about is the semiconductor industry. There is broad bipartisan support that chip manufacturing that will support the future of artificial intelligence, which has been deemed by our intelligentsia as the future great race for technical, political, and economic dominance. That production is coming right back here into the United States. Both parties agree about it. Under the Biden administration, there was legislation passed called the CHIPS Act, which funded a lot of pork in that funding, but it was funding the return of the semiconductor manufacturing industry back into the United States. President Trump is going to rework that bipartisan support, make it much more efficient, much more effective, cut the fat out of the program, and spend the money so we get this industry back into the United States. That's coming. That's not changing. And the automobile industry is coming back. That's coming back. That's not changing. And pharmaceuticals are coming back. That's not changing. So there are core industries that have broad bipartisan support for onshoring, and there's going to be trillions of dollars invested in the United States to bring back these core industries, lessening our dependence on offshore trading partners and increasing our independence as a sovereign republic, the United States of America. Let's listen to the next clip, please.
The markets today are way down, the worst day in years because of the tariff. So, how's it going? I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom, and the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball, and I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country, and you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
That is, of course, the unmistakable voice of President Trump underscoring what we're presenting here, that it's restructuring. Some people are going to leave the game. There is a giant sucking sound of globalist money shorting the US stock market and moving that money to other countries, other markets, in an attempt to make President Trump look bad. Because we got all these people looking at their phones going, hey, what's going on here? And then you watch the news, not here at the Professor Penn News Hour, but you watch the other pundits, and they're going to tell you that this is awful. Well, you know what? They may have gone to journalism school. I went to the school of hard knocks. I know what's going on. I've been watching the jobs and the factories get exported out of this country my entire business career. Now, again, and I said, when it started, we believed it was a good thing. We thought the country was so prosperous and so peaceful that we could share the wealth with the countries that were still suffering in what I would call the post World War II malaise that would be associated with having your country destroyed and a generation of your young sons killed. Yeah, that's right. The United States of America, right after World War II, was called the Marshall Plan. We actually decided to help conquered peoples set free all around the world. That's who we are as Americans. We love our neighbor as we wish to be loved. We were, in our myth, quite beneficent. But with that beneficence came quite a controlling and exploitative energy. And we, the people, have a lot of control in this world. All it has to be transformed from is negative intent to positive intent. The skills are the same. It's just as easy to be a bad person as it is a good person. The outcomes are different. If you're bad, the outcome is we, the people, are debt slaves. If you're good, as President Trump is trying to be, people are set free. President Trump is very optimistic about the future, as well he should be. He knows exactly what he's doing. I'm listening to the pundits make fun of him like he's a failure. He's a failure? Have you been elected president of the United States? I would say he's quite a successful uh, person and an example that in America, anything can happen. What an implausible story. And because he is an international businessman and has been all over the world doing deals, he understands how the system works. He understands how these other countries think. Every country is self interested for their own citizens. Nobody does anything for anybody else but their own constituency. So the whole idea of a world trade organization, a one world economy, always meant that the United States would have to give up what it had because we were on top of the heap after World War II. All of the major industrial economies of the world were destroyed except for the United States of America. We ran a trade surplus in this country from 1946 to 1976. That's right. We were on the winning side of the ball for 30 years. Now, the last 40, hey, President Trump makes it very clear his opinion. We've been on the losing side because he looks at it very simply. It's not about it's not about some outcome which is fair for everybody. President Trump doesn't have that orientation. He wants it to be fair for you and me, not for everybody. He figures the Chinese are going to take care of the Chinese. The Germans will take care of the Germans. The English will take care of the English. The Botswanans will take care of the Botswanans. Up until President Trump, we the people were taking care of everybody. But now it's all about you and me.